Hey everyone, Scott Solari here with Real Synch. Super excited to be talking with some of our amazing clients, Janet and Madeline Ridgway from Home and Land Group. Thank you both for just being here. You know, I always like to have conversations with the clients we're working with because there's other businesses out there that may identify with that and need help as well. So it's good for them to hear about your story, how we work together, and what you've gone through and where we are now. So thanks for being here. Tell us a little bit, why should someone listen to you? Tell us a little bit about your business, how long you've been in real estate, some of those things so they can identify with that as well, if you don't mind.
Well, I've been in business about 9 years as a realtor, and Madeline has been actually a realtor longer than I've been, but the truth is she doesn't dig it quite like I do. So Madeline, I like working with the people, and Madeline likes doing the paperwork. So she is the business manager, and she keeps me on track and makes sure that we are in compliance with everything. And she's the one that has to implement all of the crazy ideas that I come up with. And so she was very grateful to have you being able to help us because I'm a mess.
Well, before we get to all that, let's back up a little bit. Where, what market are you in? Who do you serve? Tell me a little about that, if you don't mind.
So we're in San Angelo, Texas, which is about 100,000 people, a little over 100,000 people. And we technically are really central Texas, but we very much consider ourselves to be West Texas. We're the very beginning of West Texas. So we are very independent-minded thinkers out here, but we're a smaller market, and we're kind of a geographical oddity, to quote "Oh Brother, Where Art Thou?" because we're 4 hours to Austin, 4 hours to Dallas, 3.5 hours to San Antonio. So we're sort of in the middle of nowhere. And so we're pretty independent out here, and we're hard to find. We're the largest city in the United States not on an interstate.
Oh, wow. I didn't know. That's awesome. That's a fun fact.
Yeah, there's a little tidbit.
So to circle back then, obviously Madeline's the business manager of the team, and Janet, you're working with a lot of the sellers and the buyers. Tell me a little bit about some of the issues and things that you're both running into where you're we need some help to figure some stuff out.
Well, what really triggered this, we had been with Keller Williams and had kind of a moment of clarity that we needed to make a change. And we moved to a different brokerage firm. That meant all of a sudden a new CRM, a new way of doing business. And we needed to figure all of that out. And I was busy, Madeline was busy. We didn't have the bandwidth to figure out for ourselves how to make our brokerage firm uses KV Core, how to make KV Core do everything that it was capable of doing. And I felt like that was sort of the missing piece of the puzzle, is how to take this large database that I've built up over years and years, and how to turn that database into a little money making machine. And so that's my goal. I'm 63, about to be 64. I would like to build up a business that is saleable to someone in the future. I want it to be able to run once I'm no longer interested in continuing to do it. I want it to be worth something. I want to be able to take it to someone and say, look, here is my big database. Here's the way I market to these folks. So it's not just right now I need it to work right. I need to set up something that is worth something to someone in the future. And so that's where you came in, Scott. I am associated with a group called Rate, and I had been at a workshop, I believe in Nashville, that y'all were at. And quite honestly, it's funny because you called me. I mentioned, that I might be interested. You called me, and what it was that you were talking about, quite honestly, and I can't remember what it was. I basically told you, that's not what I need. Thanks, but no thanks. That's not what I need. And then you were smart enough to say, what do you need?
Yeah.
And I think I kind of spilled my guts because I was so frustrated. I just started really telling you all the frustrations that I had. And you said, we can do that.
Yeah. I remember the call because it went from just a basic call to almost like we had a whole consultation call, like out of nowhere. And I was like, man, you know, and it kind of like was an epiphany in a moment. I had just spoken to Kelly, who is another person that I'm working with now. And I kind of had a moment of clarity, like, no, like this is a perfect fit. This is how we can offer some additional services from what Realsynch does as a integration platform, but there's a lot of other things that we can offer, right? And so I was very happy to have that conversation and then, you know, start to put some of the pieces of the puzzle together for you both, you know?
Yeah. I will say with Janet, who's also my mother, her going and being a part of Rate and learning about all of these different services that can be used, it felt like every time she was coming back from a conference or something, it was like 10 new things that we can use. And it was very difficult to kind of stay on top of them and be able to implement each one. And one of the best things about working with you and your team, Scott, has been it feels like there's somebody going, okay, here's the next step. This is the next thing that we need to do. And so rather than having 10 balls in the air and not knowing where any of them are going to land, we've been able to start implementing different things. And it's made the wave surfable, which has been really nice and also helps me feel like I'm being more of service than just being overwhelmed by all of it.
Yeah, that's awesome. And that's great feedback. It's like one of those things where, you know, I've been working in the industry with a lot of businesses for a long time. And one of the big things I always felt like was missing was like, there's like these amazing coaches that can give great advice, but then there was no one there to like help the team actually execute on the advice. And so I was like, man, like that, I feel like that's something that we can help with, you know, we can help actually take you through the steps, whether we're executing on it or you are, like we're both on the same page of what needs to get done. And if someone can't do it on one side, the other side can pick up the slack and vice versa. And I feel like it creates this really good synergy of actually helping a business, you know? So that's kind of the place that we wanted to be coming from, you know? So maybe talk a little bit about some of the, oh, go ahead, Janet, if you have something to say, but maybe talk a little bit about some of the specifics that we actually have helped you kind of overcome, if you don't mind.
Well, one of the most valuable things I think that you did do for us is you gave us some clarity about something that we were doing that we needed to quit doing. And that I won't name the company, but there was a, let's just call it a full service marketing company, shall we say, that we had been associated with that had become a huge financial burden to us as well as a huge frustration. That there was just I felt like I was working for them instead of them working for me. And Scott, you really helped us analyze that, and you helped us put together some of the pieces that we were hoping to get from them in a way that we could do it for ourselves and do it in a way that we were working for us and not for that company.
Yeah.
And so I know that sounds funny, but one of the most valuable things you've done for us is you gave us the courage to step away from this other association that we had. And that's improved our cash flow. It's improved our business. It's certainly improved our happiness and our relationship with each other, because Madeline was constantly frustrated trying to just keep up with all the, I won't say accounting, but accountability that they wanted us to be able to give them, you know. And
yeah, so with leaving that other company, there were a lot of holes that we still had to fill in. And one of those, namely being our website and how to make that a functional piece of the business again. And y'all have been incredibly helpful in getting that to not just being something that, you know, works, but being something that we like, we enjoy. It's, you know, whenever somebody asks what's your website, it's like, oh no, go check it out, rather than like, oh, it's just this thing here.
It's just a placeholder.
Yeah, right. Yeah, we're working on it.
Yeah.
I couldn't have done that without you, honestly.
Truly. And there've just been a lot of honestly little things that I think would have been very easy to overlook, that with the accountability of you guys, we've been able to get those taken care of. And I mean, just as, you know, you need a logo here, or we need to be making sure that this welcome email goes out to every single person that comes into your database. Just like things like that.
Are all the links working?
Yeah, things that
like
would
that.
be easily overlooked. whenever you're busy and in your own business, having that outside perspective has been really just a game changer.
And know that there's somebody getting it done. It's not just something on a list. It's really actually getting done with y'all. And that's a huge difference. You know, when we would get off the phone with this other company, we feel like crap, quite honestly. We would get off of the phone and be so depressed. And when we get off of the phone with you, we feel better. We feel like something's happening. It's moving forward. I look forward to our calls. I really do. I mean, we enjoy it. And it's like, hey, we get to talk to Scott today. And Amanda's been awesome. You've got a great team. And when we get off the phone, we feel better. And that is 1,000% different than previously.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's very kind. And it fills me with a lot of gratitude to know that, and I feel the same way too. It's like, I want to be excited to get on calls with business owners that, we have that connection and that we're moving towards a goal. And, so because that's not always the case for me either. I get on a lot of calls and I'm like, oh, this is the worst, but yeah, so it's a great thing. And that's, and something that you said, it's like these little things that you mentioned, Madeline and Janet, it's like, I think a lot of it has to do with whether it's me, Amanda, or our team, we've experienced a lot of these things or gone through them with a lot of other businesses. And we know that sometimes these little things at the time, when you're so busy and they don't get solved, they all of a sudden turn into this big issue of something that you're like, oh my God, how do we fix this now? Right.
And you've got this huge thing that you're trying to implement and it keeps getting delayed because in my case, it's usually I can't find the darn password, right? So it's just, it is so, so frustrating to me to be trying to grow a real estate business and take care of my clients and know that what I'm doing is working in my business when what I really need to be doing is working on my business.
Yeah.
And you understand the difference, right? And so you've allowed me to feel like I can work in my business and take care of my clients, but there's somebody who's helping me work on my business so that my business improves. And it's not just that I sold another home today or I have a happier client today. Those are very important things, but that I'll continue to sell more homes and that I'll continue to have happier clients. Yeah. And I think sometimes in real estate, everything, time is of the essence. We got to do it now. And so we wind up doing the urgent instead of the important. And so it's very nice that you are there to help us implement and take care of the important. Why sometimes I'm running around for my clients taking care of the urgent.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love it. And it's true because, when we started this process, it was work on a lot of things that need to be get done now and fixed now. Right. And now we're in the phase of like building the foundation for the future of making this business a valuable business, whether it's to Madeline or someone else that wants to come in and take ownership. We're building those foundational pieces to where it's this well-oiled machine of generating value towards your past clients and your customers, and then bringing in new ones and continuing to grow so that you're the, number one real estate business in San Angelo,
We are, but that's, thanks to you.
You already were. Now forever. Right. Yeah.
No, I'm just teasing.
No, I love it. True.
But that's a big business for the two of us to handle.
Absolutely.
And we need help, and we feel like we've finally gotten it. And thank you for that, because I think we were really kind of floundering. And when I really need help, when I really, really, really need help, I am so frustrated. I can't even articulate what it is that I need, which is why I'm so grateful to have Madeline, because, Madeline understands my frustration and she knows where I am and she's able to step in and do what I need right then for me. But you've fulfilled that role in a lot of ways for me, and I'm very grateful for it. It's like these things that I'm so frustrated. I don't even know the word. I don't even know the language to express what it is that I need. And you've been very helpful to interpret that for me and show me what the next step needs to be, like Madeline said, and really be helpful in my business so that I just don't constantly feel like I'm behind on doing everything I need to be doing for my business.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you, the thing that's most fulfilling for me is the fact that it's actually helped improve your relationship, because there was so much stress and anxiety going on with the workload, so that makes me really happy. I mean, that's the most fulfilling thing I've probably ever heard from a client, to be honest with you. And so if someone's watching this right now, what would you say to them if they identify with it, if they feel like they need someone to kind of come in and help them navigate through things?
What I would first of all say is, sometimes you don't know what you need until somebody can help you see it, right? You know that there's something missing. You know that your business isn't firing on all cylinders and it could be better. And so that's when I would say call Scott, because it really wasn't until we talked about my business and my pain points and my frustrations, and then to hear Scott saying, well, we can help with that. I mean, that was just like a load off my shoulders, like you can't imagine. And, I'd been looking 100 different places trying to find this. I mean, literally.
Oh, it was to a point where, like, if she came up with one more thing to work, like, this is gonna be the thing that helped, I was about to just completely abandon ship. Like, but I mean, with a bunch of the different services that you wanted to implement are helpful. We just needed help implementing them. And with y'all, with Realsynch, we had just such a clear line of help of how to get there. So I would say that if you're kind of struggling in your business and you don't know what to do next, working with you guys is just such a solid answer, because you're not really trying to pressure anybody into doing anything in the way that you want them to do it, but it's just very real advice. Y'all have been a joy to work with.
Absolutely.
And you don't get off the phone feeling like somebody's tried to
sell us something else.
Sell you something else.
Yeah. Honestly, I mean, that was the frustration too with every other thing that we did. It was like, okay, we're paying this much money, but then for anything else that we need, it's this much more and this much more.
Yeah.
I feel like
the worst.
Anything that we spend with you is such a value for what you're the best bargain I spend my money on all month.
Yep.
I mean,
I might start crying. I'm a Cancer. I'm very soft. I'm a Cancer.
And I don't mean it because you're cheap. I mean it because you're valuable.
Absolutely.
I spend X number of dollars and I get X number times X back in value. And I can't say that about a lot of other things I spend money on in real estate every month.
Or I don't think anything compares to I mean, it's you over deliver, and that is something that is very rare today. And so we honestly can't thank you enough for what you've been able to do for us.
When it's your company and we get to talk to you, it's a personal relationship.
Yeah.
And you've got Amanda and you've got other people helping, and that's great, because then I don't feel like I'm just always a burden to you personally. But I do.
I need them.
Well, yeah.
I know what to do a lot of times.
Yeah.
I don't know how to do it. Yeah, that's where they come in. They know how to do it.
I feel like you personally care about my business, though, right?
Yeah, I do. Absolutely.
And I appreciate that my success and our happiness is very important to you, or at least you do a great job of making me feel that way.
Well, it's true though, and like I only have a couple clients that I work with like you, and so when I take, but it's more like a follow through for me too.
Yeah.
It's like if I say I'm going to do something, and if I give you this expectation that I'm going to help you through these pain points and get you to a place where your business is doing better, then like it's something inside me where it's like, yeah, I'm going to fall through on that promise. I'm not going to like just say it and not do it. Right. And so that's what you're feeling, that there is it. And so there is that element of how much I care about your business. And it has to do with me making sure that like I'm fulfilling what I told you I was going to fulfill, you know?
Well, in our first conversation, you were very accurate in how long you told me you thought it would take to accomplish what I told you I wanted accomplished. And you said, you know what, if we get it all done, then we're through and we move on. Nobody else makes that promise to you. Everybody else is trying to keep you hooked into the system. But it's the opposite here. We're trying to keep you hooked into us.
Give you more to do.
That's right.
Yeah. Well, you know, and that's the great thing about, you know, because man, and you're right, both of you, about all these companies out there that just want to grind you along and take as much money from you as they can. And it's, I've dealt with it on my end too. It's terrible. Yeah. And it's like, that's the last thing I want. Like when we get to a place where I can't provide more value because we've gotten through everything, then I don't want you to keep paying me.
I don't think that's ever going to happen.
No, I mean, you know,
we appreciate
but
we appreciate it.
But it's not because of you, but it's because of me. I have a growth mindset. I have a mindset of if it's worth trying, let's try it. And I appreciate having a partner to make those things happen, and somebody that can truly help me evaluate when it's not working.
Right. Or if it's not a good decision, not the right path,
right.
not the right step towards what your ultimate goal is. So
I think you've saved me much more money than you've ever cost me. I'll put it that way.
Awesome. Well, thank you both, Janet and Madeline. I really appreciate you doing this for me and doing it for Realsynch. And, you know, again, it's good for other people to know how we work. And so thank you for, you know, giving all this information. And I of course appreciate you both very much. And I look forward to talking with you on Monday, Janet, to figure out more on your website. So, hey, if you've been watching this, Scott with Realsynch, hit us up if you need more support or services support. And we'll see if we can help you out. Thank you both.
Thanks.
Thank you.
All right.